Sorry, I was trying to stall stall long enough to take my Eternal. I forgot I haven't taken it today. The greatest stuff on the planet. All right. So I'm going to be talking to you about my story. And it feels like I've talked about this story a lot because I do a lot of interviews, do a lot of things, speaking engagements and things like that. But I'm not sure when the last time it is that I've actually shared my story on my own show. And what I'm going to do is end up taking a portion of this video and put it into my training course that I give to people for free when they come to me and say, hey, I have a lot of questions about CBD and your company and wellness. And I have a program that you're able to get into. And just all you got to do is put in Vasayo FAQs.com, www. Yeah, you know the W's are there. I don't have to tell you. Vasayo FAQs.com, VasayoFAQs.com. All you do is put your name and email address, and then you get free access to all the videos. A portion of this video will be in that program once I get done. The reason I think it's important to tell my story is because there are many people, and I just got off a text with somebody. I'm not sure if Dennis will be on here today or watching or not, but it was funny because it is the genesis of telling your story was what he said in that text. And then he says, hey, I have this feeling I'm a lot like you, based on what he's been seeing on my Facebook page and that kind of stuff, and shares with me he's a single dad with 3 kids, 2 of them are twins. And again, that is me. I'm a single dad of 5 kids. 4 of them are very young, 6, 9, 11, 13. They change ages. And so it's hard to keep that rhythmic statement of their ages. So they're 6, 9, 11, 13, and 25. And again, many of them are very young. And I have to have the story that I have, or else I'm not sure where I would be today. So I'm going to jump right in because my story is kind of long, and I'm trying not to take it too much of the time. I know we have training tonight over at Overcome Nation. Many people that are in Overcome Nation watch my videos live, and so I don't want anybody to miss. But I have an interview at 5 that I'm doing on my other show called the Facebook Live TV Show. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and put up my my question here so that it will be. What do I do with it? Andy, where is it? Andy, where's your story? It is here somewhere. Hello. Stand by. This is what happens when you do things live, and I added a couple slides and messed myself up. What did I do with that slide? Sorry, I have to type a slide while I'm talking to you. So what I'm doing is, again, I have that frequently asked questions banner. Andy, what is your story? Oops. Yes, story. And there it is. All right, I'm going to put the banner up now. I'm going to take down the branding, take down the branding. There we go. And so what I did is created this course. I created a bunch of videos. If you're a brand partner with Overcome Nation and you want any of these videos, I didn't want any of my branding to be on there because I didn't want you to not want to use them if you needed them, because there's many people that, don't have the history of making videos that I do. Not that I'm that great at it, but I do a lot of these videos. So I feel like I'm more comfortable probably than most people. People don't have the time to create videos possibly, or they don't have the technology to be able to do it. So I wanted to make these available to everybody. So I take off my branding, other than the color. The color is my branded color, but other than that, everything's different. So I'm going to go ahead and start my story from this point on, right after I clap, and the clapping allows me to do some editing. So here we go. All right. So in this video, we're going to be talking about my story. And I think it is relevant only because I want to make sure that you understand that I'm not just simply telling you to buy something because I'm in the network marketing business, or I'm an entrepreneur, or that I want to make money, whatever that is. My purpose for telling you my story is because I want to share with you the results of starting with CBD, which I, in my second book, call The Gateway, CBD, The Gateway to Wellness, is because once I started taking CBD, it led me to more wellness than I ever thought was possible. At one point in my life, I thought that was just it. I thought that I was on my downhill of wellness as opposed to the beginning of my wellness of where I am now. And so I wanted to take the time to put this together for you, to share my story. Some of it may, be equivalent to where you are now, or where somebody may be at this point in their life, and one or more of the facts that I tell you about me may resonate with you and hopefully cause you to take action. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and start at the beginning, which is always a good place to start, right? Unless you're doing a Tarantino movie or something like that, then you start with the ending and then and then you go to the beginning. All right, so my story starts with a lifetime of injury and pain. And that's not that unusual, right? As kids, I was very active as a kid. I was in the early stages of the skateboarding craze. So I was jumping off of stuff like that are 5-10 feet high, trying to land on my skateboard and keep rolling and that kind of stuff. I was really into athletics and sports. I played football all the way through Pop Warner up into high school. Never really big enough to play first string or play a lot, but that's just what my family did. We always played football, and so I had to play football, and so I did. I went to my cousin's house in Christmas time, and they beat me up to prepare me for football, and so that was part of my growth. But then I found pole vaulting. Pole vaulting in high school for me was my thing. I became ranked number 2 in the state of California in pole vaulting in high school, and went on and vaulted in college also. Went through a couple broken poles and crashed and burned and all that kind of stuff, the typical stuff. And then I began to ski, snow ski. I drove tour buses, and I snow skied, and broke my leg once, and then had to drive the bus home with a broken leg with 47 passengers in it. And then somehow I became a cop. All right, so this is all fast forward. I went through a whole bunch of other stuff. I was a stunt man for a little while. I tried stunt work for a little while, but then I became a police officer. Found the canine unit very early in my career. Fell in love with it. It became a passion, and I've been training police dogs for the last 30 years. Police dogs, bomb dogs, narcotics dogs, detection dogs for E. coli, salmonella, bed bug detection, you name it. So I've been dealing with dogs for a long time. Part of that, it has to be when you're training police dog, is dressed up in the suit and the sleeves and the equipment to take the bites from the dogs. And for much of those 30 years, I was essentially a chew toy for hundreds, if not 1,000 or more police dogs throughout the world, and training dogs. I've had dislocated shoulders. I've been bit on the skin. I've had to pry dogs off of me that had sunk their teeth deep into my body. Been in the emergency room a couple times. Again, a couple more dislocated shoulders, that kind of thing. As a police officer, I was involved in a couple major crashes. One of the last ones retired me. That's what caused me to have to retire from the police department after 21 years. A couple fights here and there, a couple shootings, a great deal of pursuits where you get out and run and jump over fences and chase people down. Anaheim Police Department in the city of California, a very busy city, especially on the weekends and especially during my era. And I'm sure it is now too, but at that point we had a lot of really downtrodden areas around Disneyland that no longer are there. In the northern end of Anaheim, and in the east and the western end of Anaheim, very active locations with shootings and stabbings and car chases and all that kind of stuff. In some of those incidents, when you're having to make the decision to shoot somebody or not, or you arrive on scene and people are dying and you're trying to get some of their last words before they die, or children trying to wake their parents up who have been stabbed several times, and they're full of blood, the people are full of blood, there's no doubt that has to affect you. As we see now in the United States in particular, the number of suicides from law enforcement is huge right now. It's in the hundreds, I think almost 300, if not more. Currently, it could be more. I had the stat, and I should have brought it up before I brought up that point, but it's in the hundreds of suicides with law enforcement today. It is because of the head injuries you get. It's because of the crashes, because of the shootings, the stabbings, the things that you see, that over time you begin to get a few issues that will begin to affect you. So not only all of that in regard to my lifetime of injuries, I apparently was born with a propensity to have high blood pressure. I've had high blood pressure since I tried to get on the police force, when they almost didn't let me get hired because my blood pressure was too high. Now, the reason I told you all that story before is because when you add all of that to an already, high blood pressure, physical being, then the body begins to react in very many ways, right? You begin to get sick, and you're lethargic, and you're confused, and you're in pain, and you're having anxiety, depression, high blood pressure, right? And this is what all begins to be. But as a male, and I'm sure sometimes even in females, as a male law enforcement officer who is I'm an instructor, I'm a teacher, I teach people how to do tactics, I teach people how to shoot with a dog, and I have the status, in my head, have the status that I cannot show any pain. right? I can't show that I have anxiety. I can't show that I have depression. I can't show that I'm in physical pain. I can't show that when I actually have my shoulder dislocated, I act like it's not dislocated. I don't go to the doctors when I feel like I have a broken hand. I don't go until I really have to go because the pain is so excruciating that I finally take myself in, because I didn't want anybody to know that I'd broken my hand doing something at work. And that is the life we live, and this is the life we led, and I led as a police officer. And now you add to it that high blood pressure. And so this entire police officer experience was fantastic. I loved it. I lived it. I loved it. I still live it today. I still love law enforcement today. But that whole police officer experience, along with the high blood pressure, the pain and injuries from those things that I experienced as a young child, all the way up and through being a canine trainer, they call him an agitator. I was a canine agitator, begins to take its toll. The worst part of it is the anxiety and depression. The anxiety and depression is painful. If you've never been through it, if you've never had that experience of an anxiety attack, it's hard to explain how painful it actually is. It is an incredibly painful experience, because you literally think you're going to die. If you've never thought you're going to die, there was one time when I was a kid, when I was going down a river, I was on a camping trip with some friends of mine, and I got on an inner tube and got stuck under these branches. And as the river kept pushing me, I kept going deeper and deeper under the water. And from what I remember before going under, it was a long row of plants that I was getting ready to go under. And I was gasping, and trying to get air through, and I kept getting poked in the face with the sticks and the branches, and I couldn't find my way to the surface, and I thought I was going to die. That feeling is the same when you're having an anxiety attack, when you think you're going to die. Extremely painful, very difficult, a period of a moment to go through. And those anxiety attacks that you're feeling you're going to die are extremely excruciating. That's like too many, but it was bad. Even going to the emergency room, taking myself on 3 different occasions, had taken myself to the emergency room over a 2 or 3 year period of time, because I thought I was going to die, thought I was dying. And the doctor said, no, you're just having an anxiety attack. So you get the pain, discomfort, and it looks like I'm a mess, right? But again, I'm hiding it. Not very many people knew I was going through it. My wife may have known, and that may have led to some things that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But you're hiding it, you're feeling it, you're going off alone by yourself, you're trying to get around it. Fortunately, I had an office, my own office that I had in Brea, in Yorba Linda. I would go into my room, my office, and shut the door and live through the pain and discomfort. And so that is where I was. And so this is where you begin to think that this is just how you're going to have to live. This is the way my life is. And that's what I was talking about earlier. That's where, at the time, I think I may have had 3 kids at the time, before my last 2 were born. And I was thinking, man, this is just what it's like when you get into your 40s. You're in pain, you got high blood pressure, you got anxiety, depression, you can't go to the gym anymore, you get a little heavier, your pants get a little bit tighter, right? And that's just kind of the path you think you're on as you're coming out of as I was coming out of my mid to late 40s, thinking that was it. That's just how I'm going to live. And I think at that time I had settled on just being that. I was trying to eat pretty good. I was trying to do other stuff, but I couldn't exercise because my shoulder from all the hits from the police dogs was in such pain. I couldn't hardly lift this water bottle. And there were days where I couldn't lift this water bottle. It was so painful. To try to get out of bed, I had to roll over on my stomach and then stand up because I couldn't use my hands to push myself up out of bed. It was a very miserable time. But again, that was just it. It was either that or have a ton of surgery, which my history with my friends who had surgery is that the surgery really didn't fix anything. It maybe reduced the pain a little bit, but it usually, just prolonged the point where, where you just had to take a ton of medication or something like that to maintain, a comfortable lifestyle. And my experience with my friends was that the surgeries weren't doing that much for them. I'm sure there were some that had success, but you only remember the bad ones, right? And so the friends that I knew said, it didn't help at all. It actually caused a problem on the other leg because I was overcompensating, and then you have this whole big problem. But thankfully, what I like to say is I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. Now, prostate cancer is a very slow-moving cancer. Thankfully, I did get diagnosed with it, and I have had many biopsies that nearly killed me, and that is a whole nother story. But it's it was that thing, that cancer, that word cancer that you get, regardless if it's prostate cancer or whatever kind of cancer. You just think, shoot, I thought I would be the one person that would not be getting the cancer. Everybody else would be getting the cancer with around me, but not me. How is it possible that I can have the cancer? And that is the thing that go, okay, that's it. I've had it. I'm in pain. I got depression. I'm in anxiety. I'm hiding it all the time. I'm pretending I'm happy when I'm not happy, and nothing's, it's just not going well. I got to do something. At the same time, unfortunately, I'm also going through a failed business, near bankruptcy, divorce, and I really do think that the lack of wellness has a huge effect on your ability to get things done and do them well. And when I look back, and I tell this story often, every time I look back, I think, what was going on at that time, right? I wasn't feeling well. I was in pain and discomfort. I wasn't able to take care of myself. Wasn't able to go to the gym. I wasn't clear-headed. I wasn't sleeping well. I was sleeping 2, maybe 3 hours a night at the most, and run down all the time, not eating well, all of those things, right? Not taking good solid. I wasn't taking any supplements because my idea at the time was that you take supplements when you're going to the gym. I wasn't going to the gym, so why would I take any supplements? Very crazy thinking, right? That may have been one of the most important times to take some supplements. So there I am, just everything's happening. My health is bad. I've got cancer, and I'm going through bankruptcy. And I didn't go through bankruptcy. I nearly went bankrupt. They hung a sign on my door, told me to move out. But thankfully, I was able to recover and save because things began to happen. And because for that moment of feeling like I was going to give up, because that's not my nature of giving up. I've been in fights for my life against some people that were far bigger than I would, and were on far more drugs than I was on. I've been in some great chases of over 100 miles an hour through the streets of Anaheim and on the freeways all the way down to the Mexican border and all the way up into Los Angeles and into some really nasty areas. And so my makeup is not to give up. My makeup is to win, right? And to achieve and to take whatever means necessary to win in the end. That is my makeup. So when you get so low, going through the time where they hang a sign on your door that you need to move out, that you're going through a divorce, that you have these kids you got to feed, and you have all this other physical things going on, it would seem that is the time to give up. And that's where you realize why some people choose to take another way out, because it's easy, right? It's easy to do that. But if you have a fighter's mentality and you realize that your position on this planet right now is to take care of those kids and to try to save the marriage and to try to save the house, then you take the other stand, right? You take the other stand and you find other means, other ways to succeed. So that's when I began to look at other ways of wellness, and I began to kind of reach out to my friends. I've at that point in my life, I was also helping people write best-selling books. I'd been able to write a couple best-selling books at the time, so I was helping other people do it. I knew how to do it. I knew how to get them to understand the concept of the cover, the title, the subtitle, the rankings, based on the categories that you put into your book. As you're making it available for people to purchase, and understood this. So I had been around a number of people that knew how to do that. I had surrounded myself with those people. We were doing it together, coaching people. And of course, during that time, when you're working with a bunch of authors, especially in the self-help space, you run into people that know stuff about health and wellness. And some people that know some crazy stuff about health and wellness. So you got to weed it out, right? You got to find the right people. But CBD is the thing that kept coming up. Medical marijuana and CBD kept coming up. And I knew, being in law enforcement, I couldn't do anything with marijuana, but the CBD that I thought was marijuana kept coming up, and it's not what you think, Andy. It's not what you think. You got to give it a shot. And I said, I'm not trying it because it's over here with this marijuana stuff. And they go, no, it's over here with CBD. And so finally, I start to look at a couple, things on the internet. I find Raphael McCullum. Raphael McCullum is what is known as the father of cannabis. He's out of the Hebrew University in Israel. And has done decades of research on marijuana. He's the one who discovered the endocannabinoid system. In the program, if you're watching this in my program, you will see that in there I have a complete video on the endocannabinoid system. So make sure and watch that video. But Raphael McCullum is the father of cannabis, who discovered that we have endogenous cannabinoids in our body that are attracted to the endocannabinoid system. And that system is the most prolific system in our body, which brings all of our other systems into homeostasis. And discovering Raphael McCullum and discovering his work with CBD and medical marijuana, essentially also in cannabis, is that I discovered that CBD is nothing to be feared, that it has, in many times, a very low THC levels, at least at the time. That's what I was learning. And it's not enough to get you high. And it has a great effect on a number of things in your body. A number of things. Again, watch my video on the endocannabinoid system in the program of VasayoFAQs.com, and that will explain everything. But there's so many, gastrointestinal, brain function, cancer, tumors, blood pressure, sleep, all of these things. And that's just a very short list of the things that it seemingly, because I can't say it can cure. I cannot tell you that because of the FDA regulations, but I can tell you that the studies show that it seems to have a huge impact on a whole number of areas. So it is that time that I decided to take the CBD for my cancer. But it wasn't the cancer that really shocked me and the effects on my cancer that shocked me. It was the side effects. The side effects of CBD was amazing, right? When you watch the pharmaceutical commercials on television, it's the side effects are the things that are going to kill you. In regard to CBD, the side effects of the CBD for me were the things that made my life fantastic and completely changed my life. I started with a different company, CBD. That CBD product worked fairly well, and I was happy with it. I had to take a lot of it at about 750 milligrams, but I took nearly 2 whole tinctures full of the product. Sorry, trying to help my voice there. And the very first thing, the first night I took CBD, I slept like a baby. Remember, I told you wasn't sleeping anything more than 3 to 2 hours a night, 2 to 3 hours a night, and that was lousy sleep. That wasn't even great sleep. I would occasionally catch a little 5-minute nap here and there, but that was about it. That was all the sleep I was getting every day. There's no way, based on what I now know about sleep, that a body can sustain a good, healthy, unless you're Donald Trump or Tony Robbins. Those guys seem to together maybe sleep 2 hours. But most people cannot do without sleep. Your brain is damaged every day that it's awake, and the sleep is what prepares the damage that you cause your brain on a daily basis. And so that is one reason why you need to have sleep. But the side effects in regard to my sleep was the first thing that I felt. I took it that night. I slept 6 hours of solid sleep. Woke up and I feel something different. It almost felt like I was high, right? There was almost that moment where I think, well, maybe there is THC in there. And when you wake up, that's when you feel it, because I felt so good. I felt so clear-headed. It felt like the world was a little bit brighter. It felt like the cloud that was over my head was kind of beginning to lift. As the days continued, my sleep continued to be 6 to 7 and then eventually 8 hours of sleep. It was amazing. Suddenly, the next thing, all of a sudden, my shoulder that was in a lot of pain was not as much in pain. I was going, what the heck's going on here? I began to test it out with some push-ups and some pull-ups and some other things. The pain began to really get better. I went to my doctors. They said, hey, your blood pressure is fantastic. It's never been this low. I said, what? And they sends me an email. Congratulations, your blood pressure is at the levels that it should be. It's not been there since we can remember, and we're so happy that your blood pressure, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I was also pre-diabetic at the time that I started taking CBD. It was maybe a month later, 2 months later, I had my blood tested. I get a letter from Kaiser Permanente. It said, congratulations, you're no longer pre-diabetic. And I changed nothing in regard to my diet. I was not running. I was not going to the gym. Nothing had changed. I'd only added CBD to my diet. So it was great. So I began to research. I began to take notes on documentaries, doing research, of course, Googling, and books as many books as I could find. And you have to weed out the bad information from the good information. I ended up writing my own book called Today's CBD Oil. It features much of my old company in it because I thought at the time that was the best. But as I was going on and now selling CBD and being part of their multi-level marketing structure, about 50% of the time people were returning the CBD saying it wasn't working for them. And although I was happy for the other 50% that were seeming to have the same results as I was having, I don't know. I couldn't figure out at the time why the other 50% weren't. And it began to bother me because I was now speaking at doctors' conventions and speaking to doctors, and doctors were coming to me asking me to teach them about CBD oil and the endocannabinoid system, which is completely crazy. Some of them are Harvard trained doctors asking me questions about endocannabinoid and the CBD. And so now I'm thinking, shoot, I have these doctors relying on me to give them good information, but I have 50% of the people that are taking this stuff saying it's not doing anything for them. Why is that happening? I began to realize and hear about that CBD in its purest form, the nutrients are not bioavailable. Our body does not like them and will not absorb them very well. And so in some cases, it's as low as 6%. And maybe even lower, and then maybe somewhere in the area of 9 to 13% for other people. And that's a very small percentage of something you're paying $75 for, right? A bottle of CBD, could cost about $70 to $75. And if you're only able to use 3% of it, that is not a very good, return on your investment, right? And so I began to research and say, is there any other way that we can get this stuff in the body? And then out of the blue, I get a call from somebody by the name of Vinny Pizzo. Vinny Pizzo calls me and says, hey, a friend of mine that I go to Bible study says he used to be your neighbor. He told me you wrote a book on CBD. I thought you might be interested to see what we have going on over at this company called Vasayo. In a few weeks, we have this product coming out called CBD1. It has something called liposome technology in it. And right when he said that, I started kind of leaning into the phone. Before I was kind of like, doing this. And then when he said that, then I go, yes, what does that do? And he goes, well, I don't know if you know this, but CBD is not very bioavailable and our body doesn't absorb it. But this liposome technology reduces the size of the nutrient, puts fatty bubbles around it, and our body just takes it up like crazy. And so now we don't need as many milligrams because now whatever milligrams are in there is now immediately absorbed by the body. And now it is more effective of reaching the endocannabinoid system and so on. Now he probably didn't use those words because at the time he didn't know that much about endocannabinoid system, but he knew what he was talking about in regard to the liposome technology. Well, I began to research it. I get on a phone call with a gentleman by the name of Rick Gutman. I meet Daniel Pico, a founder. I get on the phone with Tracy Gibbs, who is the scientific advisor for Vasayo, and talk to them and discover what they're talking about is true, not only from their point of view, but also from researching outside of their organization to make sure that they weren't just telling me what I wanted to hear, right? And so it was a hard decision, but I changed companies to come to Vasayo, and I've not looked back ever since. So, I skipped one. There's the one customer is about 50%. There, I have to add that one on there. And then, I went right through it. And so here we are today. I just kept right on talking. And so it has been a fantastic time. So I'm looking at right now, what has it been? Has it been, I had a reminder somewhere. Has it been a year? I think it's been a year now that I've been with Vasayo. So I've been with Vasayo a full year, and it has been fantastic. I have nothing. And I wish there was something I could say bad. There's nothing because it seems so unrealistic. I testify in court cases involving police dogs, and one thing I always say: there's no dog that's perfect. There's no human that's perfect. It's impossible. Especially there's no team that can be perfect because the dog would have to be perfect and the human have to be perfect at the same time, and neither one of them are going to be perfect. So you have an imperfect bond between two imperfect things. In regard to Vasayo, there has to be something. I don't know what it is, but I know there's going to be something that is not great about Vasayo. But so far in a year, I have yet to see something that has completely turned me off. One time they ran out of product in the early stages when they first launched CBD1. They ran out of product. They had one of their trucks was stolen from their main office, the distribution office, and then on the other hand, they think they weren't ready for the boom of the desire to get a hold, not just from their brand partners, right? Just their brand partners alone took up all the CBD, not even the new customers. And so they ran out of CBD, and that was a big negative, right? I just started and they already ran out of product, and it took a while for it to get new product. That may have been the only very negative thing that was bad because I switched, and at the moment I switched, they didn't have any product. And so it made it pretty difficult. Other than that, they have not made that mistake again. We have a new product coming up, Beleza, which you may have seen at the beginning of this video, depending on whether you're watching this live or replay or in the product that I'm creating. But that's coming out and will be shipping out on January 31st. I will be at convention picking up my package. I've already purchased some, and so I'll be getting that. And it'll be interesting to see what lessons they learned, right, from the launch of the CBD1 for the launch of their skincare products that are coming out in January. But I can tell you, Daniel Dal and Larson, sorry, Carrie Larson, the founders, husband and wife, are just fantastic people. They've created a company, a legacy company that's already debt-free. They've already made it one of the top 50 healthcare companies in the world. They have some of the greatest people endorsing it, Grant Cardone, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, and a whole number of other people that are not going to come to my mind at this moment that are coming on board. It's an international company. They got 4 different offices internationally or in the Asia market. They have new products coming out, right? We have the skincare, which is coming out for the largest organ in our body, which is our skin, which is really important. I just recently had a rash, a really strange rash. I got into a jacuzzi in Dallas at a I don't know, one of those hotels. I don't want to name it now. And somehow I got this rash and I could not get rid of it. It was crazy. And then finally went away. And so the skin, that's when and those things, those moments that happen, realizing, man, how important my skin is, right? I'm single. I'm trying to maybe possibly date or do something like that. And I don't want people seeing like I got this like weird rash on me. And it was on my face. It was on my nose and on my ears, right? Hi, I'm attracted to you. And you got these like blotches on your face. And so you realize how important that is to have have your skin looking good and looking young, right? And so it is just a great company. You got Daniel Piku and Dan, the Asia guy. He's over there too. He's fantastic. These founders are fantastic. They're fun. They're approachable. I can talk to them on the phone, text them. Tracy Gibbs, the doctors that are on the board are all fantastic. And then the last thing, the most important thing, which what the heck happened there? I did type it, but now it's not on there either. Or for me right now, this may be the most important part, and that is my team. My team is called Overcome Nation. You can see the shirt right here, Overcome Nation. Let me get rid of the thing. So there's Overcome Nation. There is the logo. Shoot, looking at this backwards. Overcome Nation, the logo, fantastic. This is their most recent logo. And what is it? Why is my team so important? Because the team for me is the best part of this whole thing. And I really hate to be ending on it. Maybe I should have done the Tarantino thing. I said, I'm going to talk about something fantastic at the end. You better stick around. But Overcome Nation, for me, may be the thing that I find is the glue that keeps me engaged. Because with any business, right? With any business, and my dog training business or my security business or the book creation business or the consulting business, any one of those things, when you're first doing them, the excitement is really high and strong and going really well, and you're having a great time. And then you begin to have some things begin to happen, right? Whatever those things are. You have a customer that doesn't agree with you. You have maybe a bad comment, which I haven't seen any comments yet. I haven't even looked. You have some bad comments or something going on in your, what's that thing called where they give you ratings? It's on the internet. Dang it. Yelp. So you get some bad comments in Yelp, or, something bad happens with one of your employees. They steal from you, all that kind of stuff. You have all these little things that kind of happen as you're going on. And it stops being fun, right? And it's the thing that's just not quite, it's not that exciting as it was when you first got into it, and it begins to lose its luster. But that really hasn't happened with Vasayo, but Overcome Nation, for whatever reason, the group of people, and there's thousands of people in this organization, in this team, but the leadership, the people that I stay connected with on a regular basis, like Mary Lee, who's on right now, and none of the other folks yet are on. Again, I think we have training today, so it's not, or Kimberly Young and some other folks are so cool and nice and helpful and supportive, and if you need something and you want and you ask them to do something, they'll do it for you, and that's what makes me want to make some of these videos available. And I unbrand them so that they can use them, is because I feel like this is a team effort, referencing the team, and then it's a free business school. Rick Gutman has put together a free business school that is amazing. There's nothing like it on the planet. I know for sure, because I've done a lot of things in marketing and business and entrepreneurship, and I know for sure that if he were to charge something, it would be in the tens of thousands of dollars, if not $100,000 for you to get the content. I don't know how many videos are in our training school. I think they're like something like, I forget what they said. It's a lot. It's a lot of videos. If I give out a number, it'll be wrong, but it's a lot of, you'll never get through them all, possibly. And we have a library of videos. He does training. He's doing training tonight at 5. He does training on Sunday, I believe, and then another training some other days. And then we have Kim Botger, who does training. I just saw Jason Semper doing training earlier today. We got Matt Williams, who does training. Everybody's training on the business, not on how to be a flighty network marketer, not how to use hype to get people to buy stuff. We use good, solid training on how to run a business. As a matter of fact, I wish I had this business training when I had my other businesses. I would not have failed in at least one of the business for sure, because there were some things that are talked about in the business school which were exactly what I should not have done in my security business, and that is probably one of the reasons why it failed. So, in the end, to wrap this up, my story of being unhealthy and then losing my business due to really bad planning and just not managing it well, making bad mistakes. I ended up getting divorced and single dad of 5 kids. That there is hope in the sense that one of those things you have to do if you're going to make it out of there is you have to start thinking about your health. If you're looking at this just as a customer, I'm telling you, the Vasayo products, the Core Complete, which I normally have a bag next to me, the Core Complete, which is a essential vitamins that you need to take on a regular basis, I'm telling you that may alone have virtually changed my life alone if I didn't know any better about the CBD and everything else. So the Core Complete, inexpensive vitamin packs, it comes in a package. It gives you, all put together in one little tiny package inside the bigger package. Fantastic, right? Eternal, right? Great for your skin. This was their flagship product that got them got the company debt free before CBD even came out. So this product is fantastic. Look it up. If you want to know more about Eternal, know about that. Renew, I cannot say enough about this for inflammation. It just really, it works when you add it to CBD. It's power boosted. And then V3 for energy. There. This is better. There, better say. V3, you got V Slim, you got Detox, you got something else I'm sure that I'm missing. Again, I'm looking around, V Slim, Core Complete. A whole box of stuff over here. I take it all. It is fantastic. The CBD was the gateway to my wellness. So get well, get better. If you're going to be a customer, try our products, take our products, use them. The next thing, if you want to change your life in regard to passive income, being able to have more time with your family, to be able to do silly stuff like this, do Facebook Lives from your home, which I do now. I work from my home now. I'm so thankful for what I've been able to do in regard to passive income and get rid of all my employees. I went from 500 employees to 1. I have an assistant now. I've never been happier. I don't have to worry about any of them. Don't have to babysit them. Vasayo, the company, the distribution company that works for me, does everything, right? They take the orders, they run the websites, they run the app that's on my phone, they have the phone takers, the support system, they have the warehouses, they create the product, they have the scientific team who creates the products, they have the people that go out and create the skincare that's just now coming out. They do all of that for me. I don't have to pay any of them. I don't have to do anything about them. I don't have to pay their payroll taxes. I have to do nothing. Right? When somebody calls and makes an order, they make sure and fulfill that order, put it in a box and put it into into the shipping crate, and they ship it off to the locations where they need to go. I do none of that. All I do is I do this. I share the product. I share the business with you. I talk about our company. Today, this has happened more than once. This may be the 5th or 6th time I get a message from somebody. I'm in Vasayo. How can I join your team? Not that the other teams are bad. How do you say this? Not that their teams are bad, but I have people that are on other teams within the Vasayo network marketing businesses that want to come to Overcome Nation, and they contact me and ask me how they can do it. Now, there is a way they can do it, but that is how good our team is. They get on, people see it. People feel our team when they see us at convention or talk to us, see us do these Facebook Lives and hear us talk about Overcome Nation. They get the feeling that there's something different happening over here. Because we all help each other out. We don't mind interviewing each other. We don't mind promoting, our brand. They interview me and I have a Today's CBD Oil shirt on or a hat on, and they interview me. They don't even think about it. It does not even bother them. Why? Because we're working for this, for the prize together. We want to help each other up. We want to hand each other, give each other a helping hand and help them to the mountaintop. And it doesn't matter how they get there. If they get one of my customers, it's fine with me. What is it? Because at some point I will get somebody else's customer by accident. Something will happen. I don't worry about it, and they don't worry about it. We're not here to steal anything from anybody. We're here to help each other out. And in the end, we build wells in Africa for locations that don't have water, so the children don't have to hike a mile with a bucket and then bring a bucket that the whole family has to now live on until the next time they have to go walk that mile, 2 miles, maybe even 10 miles to get water. And it's called Helping Hands. And so there's nothing but I think something in the area of 70 wells have been built by Vasayo members, brand partners, and teams. Our team alone has built, I don't know, 10 to 15 wells. I may be cutting that a little bit short, but I know that our team has built a number of wells also. And I can't say enough about Vasayo and Overcome Nation. So I hope this little journey on my, 40 minutes, how is that possible? I hope this little journey on my story has not bored you, but that's my story. Hoping something resonated with you. I hope you'll join me on this great team and be a part of my story. I would love to help you become successful. So, just let me know. Go to todayscbdoil.com or todaysvasayo.com, either one. Let me go ahead and put those banners up so you can see them. Todayscbdoil.com or todaysvasayo.com. And somebody asked me about the copyright and that kind of stuff. They've not said anything yet. I have a show called the Facebook Live TV Show that I also do. And I have the URL, the Facebook Live TV Show.com. And so, yes. And so, if they say they don't want me to do it, I won't do it. But yeah, that does come up. Not a big deal, at least not yet. And we'll see what happens. They probably should have grabbed the URL before I did. All right. But I'll be more than happy to sell it to them. All right. That's it for me. I will talk to you later. Take care. Bye. Oops. Hold on. Take care and bye.